What's going on, guys? Cassie from Jeep Gear and Gadgets, and the past few weekends have been crazy busy. We took the JT out to a local trail here in Virginia called Big Levels, packed the kids up for the day, went up to the mountains, and the trail isn't anything hard or anything, but Ben got to test out his new drone and we got some really cool footage. Then last weekend, we took the JK out to Windrock, Tennessee, met some old friends from high school, Katie and Kevin from Rock Fab Off-Road. They have an old XJ, and Casey has an old Samurai. And it really made me want to bring the LJ out there. We got some really good footage. There was mud, there was rocks, there was even some snow there towards the end, and it made me want to have my own Jeep out there. However, I don't trust the LJ on 35s with a Dana 30 axle. I think I will probably break something, but at the end of this video, I'm gonna tell you what our plan is to fix that. Maybe an axle swap? I don't know, you'll have to wait and find out. First, I wanna talk about some products that I've already installed, and I will start with the bed rug. A lot of people have been asking how it's been holding up, and it has held up great, but keep in mind, I actually have not off-roaded the Jeep yet, so it's only been daily driving, wear and tear on it, and it looks good so far. However, Ben has the bed rug in his JK, and it is holding up very well. We've washed it a few times and it kind of needs another wiping down as it is already. Maybe I'll do that for him this weekend, maybe not. Next, I want to talk about the peanut butter on the fenders. Now, it is something you do have to do at least once a month. It did not hold up as long as I was hoping it would, but it is a great alternative to going out and buying anything to shine the fenders up. I'm going to keep using the peanut butter trick. I think it works really well, and it's such a budget-friendly option. Something else that I've done that I haven't talked to you guys about yet is that I finally painted the hood louver, and I chose Steel It Gray. It matches what I painted the wheels, and I think it looks really good. Now, a funny story about the hood louver. I actually did this a couple months ago. We took the hood louver off, all 38 bolts or however many it is, sanded it down, painted it, and then after we painted it, we wanted to see what it would look like on the hood, but we didn't bolt it on. So we just kind of laid it down to see if it would match, and we forgot that the hood louver was not bolted down. I went to drive to work the next morning, and the hood louver just flew off the Jeep when I was about 2 miles down the road from the house. It scraped it up a little bit, not as bad as I thought it would, so it was easy to fix kind of where the paint was scratched a little bit, resanded it, repainted it, and it looks really good. I kind of like the gray, Steel It Gray. It offsets all the black that is already on this Jeep. In the last video, you might have noticed that the rock rails were off the Jeep, and there is a reason for that, but I'm going to let Ben explain.
So the issue with buying a previously modified Jeep from somebody is that sometimes like the upgrades aren't done right. So we noticed that when we were driving this Jeep, there was a lot of loud noises, like popping noises. And I originally thought it was the motor mounts, because they were bad, they were definitely loose. Changed those out, the noise was still there. And it turns out the noise was coming from the rock rails. And the reason the noise was coming from rock, that's like a weird place to make noise, is that these are actually body mounted, and underneath they mount to the body mounts. But the previous owner, I don't know if they installed it or had a shop installed it, but they were installed incorrectly. What happened was, you know, they drilled these holes to mount to the body, and then underneath they mounted it on the body mounts, so it was mounted to the frame. And what was happening is the frame and your body are separated by a bushing, and that has a little bit of flex. But when you mount a 3/16 rock slider to both of them, it becomes rigid, and the mounting bolts and everything were creaking and popping. So we had to pull them off, and since the mounting difference either below the body mount or above it is a difference of like 1/4 inch, it made it very difficult. So I had to pull it off, mounted it in the correct position, but these holes were like not aligned anymore. So I had to enlarge the holes a little bit, grind some of the body mounts to mount them correctly. We got them back on, it doesn't make any noises, but if you look, like this bolt right here, it's not exactly flush. So definitely, it was just an install error, but luckily we got it back on. It's good enough for now. There is a little bit of a body gap if you look down vertical, like you can see. You can see the gap.
Yeah, there's a gap right here. You can see it.
It's not perfect, but this is as good as they're gonna get, especially since everything was already drilled incorrectly. But they're back on. Cassie should be good to go. But now that that's fixed, Has she told you about the axles?
Shh, no, that's for later. No, we do all the boring stuff first and then I talk to you about all the cool stuff that is coming. I'm gonna spice this up a little bit with the crazy install. I have a center console mount dash thing. I'm not sure what the proper name is. Let's see. I have a dash multi-mount system. All you have to do is take the dash multi-mount system and place it right up here. Now, why did I get this? A couple reasons. The previous owner had something up here and you can see the glue or the sticky stuff is still left over and I can't really get it off the dash. So I got this to kind of place over top of it, and I also have a phone mount here now. Now Ben, looks like Ben's ready for this install because
you have to drill it
there are 3 holes that you have to drill it into. 1, 2, 3 right there. But it looks like Ben wants to do it, so
I love drills.
I'll let him.
Like, there's kind of a reoccurring theme here that the previous owner did. Like it's not bad. It's a great Jeep, but like we have to hide. You know, first off with the rock rails, I was really kind of bummed about that because that just sucks. And then the previous owner used super glue on the dash, so now we got to cover it up. But this is actually pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. It
is. Now I have multiple change holders. I can leave my Easy Pass there and mount my phone all in one.
Let's get it installed. This could be crazy.
Do it. Where are the screws?
I don't know. I hope are they in the box?
I don't know. Let's find out. 3 screws. You're in luck. And sticky things. So do we even have to screw it?
I don't know.
So I see little Velcro mounts here. No, they're sticky mounts. There's 3 sticky mount things, so I don't even know if we have to screw it.
Remove backing adhesive tapes and place into the recess. Install. So yeah, we gotta do both.
1. And that is it. Then you reinstall crap back up at the top. All right, first install of the video out of the way. Second install is not an install, but I need your opinion on some fender options for the front of the Jeep. Right now we have the DIY highline fenders on here, and I think it looks good. It gives it that classic look. However, we also have these MCE fenders as an option to swap out the highlines for. I'm not sure what I want to go with, which one will look better, but here's kind of a mock-up of what the MCEs would kind of look like. If these highlines were removed, you'd see there'd be a much bigger gap here, and it would look like the Jeep is lifted much higher than it is right now. And I'm not sure what looks better. So I need you guys to comment below. Tell me what you think would look good if you have these installed, or just what is your opinion on them?
Well, like, so a few things on the MCEs is that we're gonna have to cut these. You have to cut these fenders in order to install these. So there's no going back. You know, in order to install these, we gotta chop them up, and if we don't like the look, then we can't just reinstall these. We'd have to go back to like some other type of aftermarket. So that can get pretty pricey, but I think these will look good. I don't know. And plus, I don't like, there's not many people running MCEs paired with highline fenders, so I don't know.
We're not quite sure what to do. Still trying to figure out the fender situation. All right, guys, I have hinted at this upgrade for long enough. The cat's out of the bag. It's time to get started. We're going to be doing an axle swap on the LJ. The future plan is to either have 35s or 37s on it, and the Dana 30 is just not going to cut it. Luckily, Ben did a 1-ton axle swap last year on the JK, so we have a Dynatrac 44 and a Rubicon 44 front and rear sitting in the yard over here that we weren't quite sure what to do with, but we've decided we're going to throw them on the LJ. Not throw them, it's gonna be a much longer process than that. We're gonna document all of it for you guys, put out some separate videos on the whole process of going from the Dana 30 to the Dana 44 on the LJ. So let's go get the axles out of the yard. I'm gonna go grab Ben so we can really get this project going. Such a sad sight. The grass is growing over them. They look like trash right now, but it doesn't matter. We're gonna get them cleaned up. We gotta cut all the brackets off of the rear axle anyway, paint them, really get them up and running, looking good. So Ben, helper.
Oh man, we're gonna try to move
We're gonna
these.
try. Actually, there's no guarantee these axles are about to get moved.
They might be there for another few months. They are heavy. You ready?
No, I'm not.
Let's definitely set the GoPro up for this.
up a little bit because they are quite dirty right now. Now that we've got the axles cleaned up, they actually look a lot better than I thought they were going to. We've got the mud, we've got the grass off of them. They cleaned up pretty nicely. So we have the Dynatrac 44 front, Rubicon 44 in the rear. They both have 513 gears, so we don't have to re-gear them. Those are all ready to go. So for the front, we're gonna start with the Dynatrac. This is a really nice axle. It's expensive, it's really nice. We don't wanna have to cut this one up. I think we are going to be able to make it fit underneath the LJ in the front as it is. So hopefully that will be an easier part of the project. Now the rear, we're just gonna have to cut this one all to pieces. The springs sit a little further outside than the JK setup, so we're gonna have to cut those off and put new ones on, new mounts on. The control arms are in completely different spots. We don't even know if we're gonna go with a 3-link or a 4-link yet, so we still have a lot of decisions to make, but one thing I do know is there's gonna be a lot of welding, a lot of cutting on this rear axle, but we're gonna take you guys step by step through it on the important pieces of this axle swap. Once the axles are underneath the LJ, it is going to be so sick. It's gonna be a beast on the trails. I think Ben, he won't have a hard time, but I think it'll be challenging. Me being on 44s with 37s and the LJ being lighter than the 1-ton on 40s. It'll be a cool test to see who can outperform two or who has a harder time on certain sections as opposed to the other. So keep an eye out for that once this project is done. I've talked about a lot in this video. I went over products I've already installed, such as the bed rug and the peanut butter on the plastic. I've talked about the MCE fenders versus the highline fenders that are on there now. Please go down and comment below what you think would look better on it. And we've also talked about the axle swap, which has been one of the big projects we've been waiting to start. As always, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys next time.